finishing getting this stake down so it doesn't blow away in this wind. I apologize in advance for the wind noise in this video. It is always windy out here, and so I apologize in advance. I'm getting this ready to use tomorrow morning. I'm going to be photographing some sharp-tailed grouse as part 2 of 4 of my grouse series of videos that I'm doing. Even though I'll be using this blind in this video, I won't be answering questions of how I decided to set it up here, how I use a blind in my photography, things like that. If those are questions you're wanting answers to, check out last week's video where I spent some time with some Greater Sage Grouse, and I do answer those questions. This week, like I mentioned, I'll be with the sharp-tailed grouse. They'll come out in the morning in front of the blind here in these open grassy areas. The males will spread their wings and they'll actually do a dance for the females. It's a very beautiful display to watch, and I hope it's something you enjoy watching. I always love watching it. I'll also be talking about lek etiquette in this video. How to get in, get your picture in a respectful way without disrupting their rituals that they do. How to get your picture in a respectful way if there's a landowner involved or if there's other photographers involved. Those are all very important things to consider with grouse photography or any photography. I hope you enjoy this week's video, and I'm going to finish getting this thing staked down before it blows away, and then I'm going to do some scouting. Well, it's starting to get dark. I've eaten, I'm exhausted, so I'm gonna go to bed. I wanted to take a minute though to talk about this lek etiquette that I mentioned earlier today, and kinda, ooh, there's some birds in the area. I'm not sure what those are. Kind of discuss what I meant by lek etiquette. So again, a reminder of what a lek is. I discussed this in the sage grouse video. If you haven't checked that out, watch it because it goes hand in hand with what I'm about to talk about. But a lek is an area where male grouse come, they congregate, they do these elaborate displays to attract the females and hopefully mate with the females. It's essentially where the continuation of the species happens. So it's a very important location, and lek etiquette, what I mean by that is you know, respecting that area. Anything that you do to disrupt what those birds are doing goes against what I'm referring to. So a couple examples just real quick of lek etiquette. What I'm talking about is anything that you do to disrupt the birds, another photographer that's there, or a landowner, a private landowner, if that's applicable. So just a couple quick examples. With birds, there's a lek that I used to photograph a lot more than I do now, and it was in an awesome location, just this very open, grassy location. The grass was very short. It was very easy to see the birds and get clean, crisp pictures of them. But year after year, I've noticed that photographers and bird watchers, people have pushed these birds further and further back, and now the birds are used to displaying somewhere else that they didn't 5 years ago. And now these birds display in a very overgrown area, and it's hard to get any clean pictures of them. And all this because people pushed them. People wanted to get closer and closer, and then the birds moved farther back and farther back. And now it's so hard to shoot at that location. And obviously that's not okay. These leks, the males, especially with sage grouse, but with sharp tails as well, The males generally have a very specific location that they display in day after day. And if you displace one of those males, he needs to go find somewhere else, and he's possibly displacing somebody else. And it disrupts the whole area, especially if you're, setting your blind up too close and it's pushing a bunch of them back. You're going to end up pushing that whole lek back somewhere else where they generally don't display, and ultimately you're going to have what happened at this lek that I talked about happen with you as well, where you're just going to push the birds somewhere new, and they're not going to display where they used to, or they might just move off altogether somewhere else. And it's not good for the birds, obviously. They're there to mate, and you're stopping them from doing that. Another example is with private landowners. This same lek that I'm talking about, it straddled a public and private property line, and they used to display on the public portion, but people pushed them so far back where they're now displaying on the private portion of the land. And somebody a couple years ago, I'm not sure who or why, but somebody clipped the fence, and now people venture onto the private portion of the land, even though there's signs there that say no trespassing. And that's not okay. Again, for the birds, you're just pushing the birds, but also for that private landowner. It's his land, he's got signs up. It's not your land, don't go on it. It's that simple. And another scenario is with other photographers. I've had other leks that I used to shoot at. I haven't been to in years because it just got so chaotic with people there that it wasn't worth it for me to get up and go out there anymore. The last few times that I went out there, I woke up, got out there by 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and other people, this was a location where you could drive up to, other people would roll in at 7:30 when it was light to get pictures of the birds, but they would end up just scaring the birds away because it was already light. They weren't used to these people coming in with their vehicles. Some people would even get out of the cars, and some people would get out of the cars with dogs, and they would just scare the birds. And I don't even go to those locations anymore. If you pull up to a location and there's somebody there shooting and the birds are already out, just keep going because you're going to end up scaring those birds, and you're going to ruin it for that bird watcher or that photographer, whoever it is. You're going to ruin it for them. So just be respectful while you're out there with any wildlife, not just grouse, any wildlife. Respect the people around. Respect the landowner if it is private land. Make sure you talk to them first, and especially respect the animal, because we're out there to appreciate them. We need to do so respectfully, and the best way we can appreciate them is by respecting them. So I don't want to keep rambling on here. Like I say, I'm tired, so I'm going to go to sleep because I got another very early morning tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see you bright and early in that blind. The grouse have moved off for the morning. I haven't seen or heard them for quite some time now. They moved off pretty early this morning, and I don't know why, honestly. They didn't fly off in a hurry like they usually do if there's a predator nearby. It was just very odd. They were out here displaying, and all of a sudden there was one quite a ways behind me. I heard it displaying, and then the ones that I was watching, they just ran over that way, and they flew off a little while later. I'm not sure where they went, and they haven't come back since, and that's been over an hour and a half now, probably closer to 2 hours that I've been waiting for them to come back, and I haven't seen or heard anything. So I'm not sure why, but either way, it was just fun to be out here with them this morning. That display they do is so unique. It's just so fun to watch and hear. They're just very charismatic birds, and I love spending time with them. Any grouse species, really, but yeah, these are one of my favorites for sure. It's so fun to be out here with them. This landscape that they live into, it's very harsh. And anytime you come out here to photograph them or watch them, you need to be prepared, because it is cold this morning. It is so cold. It was so cold last night, and the wind is it's been pretty bad this morning. It died down for a little bit. It's starting to pick up a little bit again right now, but the wind has just been pretty crazy this morning. So you just need to be prepared when you come out here to watch these guys. But it's always worth it. It's so fun. Well, my time with these sharp-tailed grouse has come to an end, for now at least. I have had such an amazing time with these guys so far this year. I've spent more time with sharp-tailed grouse than I have any of the other grouse species this year, just because previously I had a lot less footage of them than the majority of the other grouse species I've spent time with, so I wanted to dedicate more time to sharp-tails this year, and it's been so much fun. I've been able to visit multiple locations now and get some footage there, and I've also been able to find some new locations that I'm excited to scout out next year. Really excited about that. If you're getting out there with grouse or really any animals, just remember to respect them. Be aware of what you're doing, just to make sure you're not affecting them negatively in any way. And just be respectful of the people out there too. That's what it's all about, is just getting out, enjoying nature, and doing it respectfully. So I hope you have fun out there. I'll be coming back at you next week with part 3 of 4 of this grouse series, where I'll be finding and spending some time with a third species of grouse. One of my favorites to spend time with. I know I say that about every animal, they're all my favorites, but this one truly is amazing. So I'll be back at you again next week. Until then, have a great week, and yeah, we'll see you then.